Wait a minute. Hang on. Hold the phone. Is this why Mr. Darcy's a thing?
Okay, so I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think you're quite right. I think you're halfway there. Okay, to be fair, I know jack about Baldur's Gate. Like, absolutely nothing. So the entire context I have is from your video and your video alone. With that being said, however, from what you've described, you've made it to about the halfway point in the book. This is where the turning point for Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth's relationship hinges. So up until this point, Mr. Darcy has been proud, and Elizabeth is basing her assessment of his character on like their first interaction, and then also what she's heard from Mr. Wickham, who Mr. Darcy and Mr. Wickham, they're not buddies. So all of her like beliefs about him are hinged on like their very first interaction, where she overhears him saying something not nice about her, and then backing that up with the fact that like they are in very different social spheres and social like classes. And so she thinks like, oh, he's so prideful, like, because he believes he's so much better than me. And like society dictates that like, yes, he is because he's rich. So when to her, she's like, I hate this man. And he also hates me. Like, he thinks he's so much better than me. And then out of nowhere, he turns around and is like, will you marry me? And she had that initial reaction of telling him off. She absolutely tells him off. She is like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, we hate each other. What? And so I think that scene that you described with this character, that's that scene. That's that scene from Pride and Prejudice of where you're just like, wait, where are you even coming from? You just finished insulting me. Like, he literally is insulting her as he is proposing to her. He's like, I know that like I am such a higher class than you and your family is obnoxious and all of this stuff, but also like, would you marry me? And she's like, what? Why? And like to him, he's like, I'm overlooking all of this stuff. I'm setting all of these things aside because you're better than all of these things. I'm ignoring all of these things. And she's like, but you're not. You're standing here pointing them all out. So the second half of the book is Mr. Darcy's redemption arc, where he actually goes out of his way to be like, even after she has said no and has made it clear that she's never going to marry him, she doesn't want to be with him, he still goes out of his way to be a better person. To be a better person, not just to her, but to other people who are not in his social class. So he is nice to her other relatives. He is nice to other people that are her friends, that he goes out of his way to take care of her little sister, who goes and gets engaged to Mr. Wickham, who he hates. And her sister like doesn't know that Mr. Wickham has like this gambling problem and like all of these debts and stuff. And he goes and pays off all of Wickham's debts to take care of her little sister because her family can't do it. And he's doing all of this with the assumption that she is still never going to marry him, that she is never going to give him the time of day again. So he's not doing this trying to win her back over. He's just doing it because he loves her. That is the beauty of Mr. Darcy. So I think I see where you're coming from. However, you're only at the halfway point. You gotta have the rest of the redemption. The rest of it has to be there. Otherwise it's just red flags. It's just red flags.